And welcome back to another Friday edition of the Michael Decon program. First-time listeners out there, pleased to meet you. Don't be shy. Tonight we've got a bit of a rattlesnake for you. As always, we've got Mike Hideous, live and direct and in the building. I believe he is ready. Let's put him on. Mike, are you with us out there?
Hello, Michael.
There you are. I'm glad you're here.
How are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm very good. Lots to talk about here with you, my friend.
Indeed.
Yeah, so how are you? Is everything okay?
Good. I'm trying to do about 20 things at once.
Okay.
I'm good.
I know how that goes, but yes.
Just got the
Everyone's
hiccups.
right. And of course, Mike, I have to be honest with you. I might need to take a shower immediately after this one. This is going to be a crazy one.
Okay. Are you going to get dirty?
I might get dirty, yes, that is true. You might get very dirty, so put the women and children to bed.
I'm going to put my entire condom suit on.
There you go. It's going to be safe.
Mm.
And
Right on.
Yes, sir. And of course, international listeners out there, Guten Morgen and Good Morgen to our listeners in Germany and Sweden. You know, I'm blown away, Mike.
Guten Tag. Guten Tag.
Yeah, Guten Tag. And by the way, never did I once imagine there would be anyone listening to this program, but the fact that people are listening way outside of this little town, I mean, Mike, holy hell. I love that.
Yeah. And you say we got a lot of people who are listening from Germany?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love Germany.
Evidently we do. And I'll be looking in the chat room, by the way. I will try to answer some questions if there are any for either me or Mike. And of course, you are welcome to call in with any complaints if you want to yell, scream, maybe curse out Mike or me. That's fine. I'm in a good mood. So, I'll be patient tonight. I won't hang up on you, or you won't hang up on me. I hope not. Last time the guy did hang up on me.
That's right.
Right. So that number is 424-666-2425. And Mike, I have to say, I'm looking at myself through my monitor here, and I'm looking at this beard I have going on.
You grew a beard?
I grew a beard.
Wow, I cannot picture you with a beard. I guess I could, but I just haven't visualized it.
I can't either. I can't even. It's hard to imagine that that's me looking at myself through the mirror. It's like Michael Jackson, the man in the mirror. I'm looking back at myself and I'm saying, holy shit, I have a beard.
Nice.
I'm someone who's always very clean shaved, that sort of look. I've had that look for such a long time, and now I have a beard. Now I'm like really intimidating, more so than ever.
I used to be a clean shaven man myself, and a few years ago I grew this like not a wart, but like some kind of thing on my chin.
Some sort of thing, yeah.
Yes, like another head.
Another head, yeah.
I grew a goatee, and I've had a goatee for well over 2 years now. And
you had like that little soap patch going on for a while, yeah?
I did, yeah, for a while.
Right.
But then, like I said, I grew that thing right on the side of it, and I'm like, ah, damn it. So I grew my goatee in, and I've had it ever since. And I like to shave. I like to look clean shaven, but now I've got the rustic look.
It's because of the pandemic, I've been able to not have to shave. That was always sort of like a requirement for me.
Right.
But now, I'm letting it all hang out. I'm loving it. I like it.
Good.
I got to trim it though. I'm looking a little.
You're gonna get like a ZZ Top going?
No, that's too much. That's too much. But anyways, Mike, we have returned like a big, happy, dysfunctional family. We have a plethora of topics to discuss and dissect with everyone out there this evening. And Mike, always good to talk to you. We've got a bombshell this evening, ladies and gentlemen. If it's true, of course, Mike, we've got to talk about some very dark matters tonight. This is in regards to our past guest, Jeffrey Prather.
Really?
Oh my God, yes. This is insane, Mike. I am
shocked.
I'm shocked too.
Based on what you told me, a week or two ago, right?
Right. I was planning.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, I can't believe it either. Out of all the people that we've talked to, Mike, all the people.
Yeah.
It's Jeffrey Prather, the one that has these heinous allegations thrown at him here.
Oh, goodness.
Holy hell.
Unbelievable. Well, all right.
Yeah, so we got that to listen to. We will be listening to that disturbing audio in a few minutes. Well, more than a few minutes here. We got more banter to get into here, but Mike, we got to get warmed up here. We're only 8 minutes in. We can't go full on with all the glory here. We have to do a slow build.
Right on.
Right. So, Mike, by the way, you won't be here tomorrow. You'll be on sabbatical, correct?
I will be on sabbatical. I'll be doing a mission for the Marines and the Navy.
The Marines and the Navy? I thought it was for some sort of like Bible school that you're going to.
That too. We're going to bomb a Bible school.
Oh, you're going to bomb a Bible school? Can you legally say that, by the way?
Probably not.
He's only playing.
It was a joke, everyone.
Yes.
It was a joke.
Yes, Mike is not into explosives.
Of course not.
He doesn't even know how to use a lighter.
I can barely light a candle.
That's right. Vic Grimes says, are we shopping at Walmart? You won't be hearing this at Walmart, that's for sure. That is tremendous. But yes, well, I'm glad you are here, Vic Grimes. I'm happy to see you. And of course, the last time we did a show together, it was well worth the listen. I believe it was with Captain Dan Hanley and Captain Doug Green. I know you enjoyed that one, right, Mike?
That was very interesting last week. Yeah,
had a great time.
Very fascinating.
Oh, yes. I received a ton of positive feedback from that episode alone. And once again, those of you that are just tuning in, remember, you are invited to call in Don't be shy. Me and Mike will be very polite with you tonight. We won't get too wild. At least I won't. Mike is always sort of wild. What he wants to be. But yes, Mike, regardless, we had a great time last time and we will do that again. And Mike, I have a confession to make.
Okay.
As you know, in the title it says Sirius XM. I'm not sure if you saw that.
I did. What's up?
Well, I've been an on and off subscriber to Sirius XM for a long time. I like some of the music channels and, of course, some of the talk shows. Some of them are awful, don't get me wrong, but I found a few shows in there that I found tolerable. You know, a few shows you can listen to in the background and, you know, drink, smoke, do all kinds of things while you have that going on in the background, right?
Sure.
Right. Right. But,
so...
yeah, but this last go-around I had with Sirius XM, it's safe to say it's been my final run.
Indeed, huh?
Yeah, I like the product, don't get me wrong. But I was just thinking about it, Mike. Is this worth the money?
Oh, yeah. Well,
is it really worth the money? All the things that I already listened to are already on my phone, to be honest. So you know, it's kind of pointless in a way.
I hear you, man. A lot of things are changing.
Right. So I was just thinking about it. I'm sitting down, looking at my cell phone and looking at the app, and I'm thinking, this is kind of a waste. What am I doing?
Well, I guess you know what? That's your call, man. You gotta obviously figure out what you're gonna do with that.
Right. But yes, at the end of the day, I was just listening to music that I like. Nothing on Sirius. None of the talk shows, and of course, when I would be listening to the Howard Stern show.
Right.
And I didn't really listen to anything else. I mean, I tried to listen to another show, the Jim and Sam show, and that show sucks.
Okay, I never heard that one before.
I try to give them a chance, but it's an awful show. What can I say? The show is supposed to be a comedy show, and I often don't find myself laughing at anything on the show.
I hate that.
I'm like, holy shit, this was a great comedy show at one time. It's sad.
Okay.
Yeah, it's remarkable.
So that's down.
Yeah.
Even the Stern show, you said it was lost its momentum. No.
Yes, I'll mention that in a moment. But yes, the Jim and Sam show. This is sort of the show that was left from the great Opie and Anthony show from way back in the day. But yes, Jim and Sam. Yeah, but Jim and Sam were on that show in its glory. The long story short, Mike, it all went down in a blaze of glory with the original guys getting fired, and Jim Norton and Sam Roberts were the only two left. And Sirius XM thought, well, fuck it, we'll just give these two idiots a show.
Can I ask you, do you by chance remember, or I should say recall, why Opie and Andy got fired?
Hold on, we are getting a phone call here. Let's take this call before we hang up on this gentleman here. I think it's a gentleman. It could be a woman. It could be Caitlyn Jenner. Who knows? Caller, go ahead. You are live on the air. Sort of live.
I don't consider Bruce Jenner to be a woman, but what you were saying about the XM, Mike, you can call them and threaten to cancel, and they'll drop you down to a promo.
I know that. Yeah, I know that game very well, and I played it before, but I just think, well, I've done this on and off for many, many moons, and of course I would only be listening to a limited amount of shows like Howard's show, and even his show has gone down horribly.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's what, 65 years old now?
He's about 60. Yeah, right. And there's nothing wrong with being that age, but I mean, and I'm going to explain all this in a moment here. I thought, we're on this topic. I might as well just say everything that's on my mind here. But yes, caller, thank you for that. I'm not going to hang up on you yet, but just listen to this. I gave them another shot. I tried, this is in regards to the Jim and Sam show. I tried listening to the show again. It's a terrible morning show. It's supposed to be like a morning zoo sort of show for those that don't know. And, they talk perhaps for 45 minutes about what they ate that morning. Sorry, but I don't really give a shit what you ate in the fucking morning. This is supposed to be a comedy show, and you're talking about what you ate in the fucking morning. This is, and Sirius.
That's like people who take pictures of their breakfast, lunch, and dinner and send it out on either Instagram or text messages.
Oh God.
Right, but
Yeah, isn't that annoying?
It's very annoying. But who gives a fuck what you ate in the morning?
Exactly.
Who pays for this shit? Is what I was thinking. Who the fuck would pay for this? This is terrible. Definitely not
Only
me.
They care about it, and they think other
Right.
people care about it.
I just thought this is terrible.
It's just a narcissistic
Right.
picture taking.
Well, you know, caller, I think a lot of people do care about it because it happens so frequently. Text messaging and Instagramming images of like what they're drinking, what they're cooking for dinner, what they're eating for lunch. And you're right. I completely agree, guys. It's boring as hell. But
Very boring.
People
pay attention to it, which
People
is
do.
really sad.
It's very sad. At one time, by the
I
way,
agree with you on that aspect, Mike. I agree with you there because people have a fake online internet profile, so they have to be fake to pretend that they actually give a shit when they really don't, just for them to be liked by them on the internet.
Right.
You know, it goes a long way down the road. Like, oh, you know, I'll like your post if you like my post.
Yeah.
You'll be friends with me, but that's all we are. We're online fake single-serving friends.
You see a lot of those people as well, by the way, caller, in the sort of the podcast circle, the people that are involved in radio. It's the same thing. You scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. I don't really like your show, but you know, if you do this, I'll do that for you.
We won't be friends in the real life, but we can be friends online.
Right.
You
give me
I'll take a picture of my fucking drink. You'll take a picture of your fucking steak. I'll like it. I don't give a shit, but I'm going to like it so you like mine.
Right. Yes. Well, my goodness. Let me just say this. At one time, by the way, the Opie and Anthony show were like number 2 behind the Howard Stern show.
What kind of name is Opie?
Well, he was terrible.
Opie Griffin.
But he was doing it since he was 18, though, Mike. That's the long-running joke. He's been doing radio since he was 18, he says.
Okay.
Right. But anyways, back to my point. The Howard Stern show and the Jim and Sam show, all these two shows, ironically, they're both just mailing it in at this point. And they're getting paid a lot of money. Lots of money. Do they deserve it? In my opinion, they don't. Not at all.
Michael,
go ahead.
Is it Opie and Andy from the Opie and Andy show?
Opie and Anthony.
Opie and Anthony.
Yeah.
Shows you how much I used to listen to the show. So is it them on this Sirius show that you're talking about?
No. They got fired a long time ago, but Sirius thought, we had such a great run with this show. Let's sort of bring in some relics from that show, and that's why they had Sam Norton and Sam Roberts. But they are awful. It's a terrible morning show. What can I say?
The terrible morning show.
It's a fucking shit show. What can I say? Now, Mike, I don't even like criticizing any show, to be honest with you. I have respect for them, but unfortunately, I can't just sit here and lie and tell you that those shows are incredible and they're like great. It's not reality.
Well, Mike, people like a lot of bad TV, just like they like bad radio.
That's right.
I
mean, this is bad radio too.
Kardashians are millionaires.
I mean, this is terrible radio as well. So,
Yeah, but this is more interesting because
you and Mike bring a lot more to the society than Opie and Andy, Opioid and Andy, whatever the hell.
Opioid.
Right. So anyways, Howard's show was good for a long time. I have to say it was around the time when Artie Lang left. You knew things were going to get rough on that show, and that's exactly what happened. And I know everyone...
Well, yeah, Artie Lang's nose left him, and then he had to leave. So.
Oh, my. Yes.
His nose
left him, right. That's not very nice, by the way.
He had to go.
Not very nice of you.
Not very nice, but who gives a shit?
That's what happens when you
so I had to tell you,
snort
Mike,
heroin.
I recently left California.
You left California.
Relocated.
Good for you.
And relocated to Hawaii.
Holy shit,
wow.
You went all out. Hawaii.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Moved the whole troop and just made a new home here on the Big Island. Got out of Campbell, San Jose area and just bounced.
I'm very jealous of you.
Well, I mean, you too can do it, Mike.
That's true. I can do that.
So it was quite a process, but I mean,
We all can do
happy
that.
now.
But
Anybody
yes,
can do it.
yes, anyone can do it. Especially you out there listening. It could be you. You could go to Hawaii next.
Wish I could.
So yeah, I have to say, I do enjoy your guys' conversations, and you got a lot of intelligent people coming on here. You know, I caught up with you, I think in 2018 when you were first having Fetzer on.
It's a long time ago, yeah.
Long time
we
ago,
evolved,
yeah.
didn't we? We really have evolved here
sure
on the
have.
program. Yeah,
Sure
it's insane.
But I still have to say, you're one of your best conversations was with Leader and Fetzer.
John Lear, yeah.
That's still, John Lear is still up there in all those podcasts up there, in my opinion. Two powerful minds there for sure.
That was pretty insane, right? You've never heard that anywhere else.
No,
that's pretty crazy.
You can't hear that anywhere else. Yeah.
Well, I hope we can do that again. I hope I can bring in John Lear. I haven't talked to him in a long time. I hope he's okay.
Pretty epic.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I guess he wasn't doing too well, in 2018. So it's 3 years from there. So hopefully he's still kicking.
Do you think
he's still alive?
Do you think he has COVID?
No. I had that fucking shit twice, and it's no joke, bro. I'm telling you what. I was working for FedEx at the time, and I contracted this shit, and I was pretty near death for like 3 days. It felt like. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but I felt like I could just die at any minute, and it's fucking nasty, and I don't wish it upon anybody, but. The hell if I'm getting a vaccine now.
Wild. I had no idea that you had contracted the virus, and of course Mike also vaccinated now, so he has joined the club.
I have.
He's joined the club, yes.
Now they're saying that you're not safe from it. You're still not safe from it if you're vaccinated. You can still get it.
That's right.
So
In fact, when I was getting the injection, the guy who was giving it to me said you could still possibly catch the virus. However, now having received the vaccine, if indeed you do get it, it will not be nearly as bad as what would happen if you didn't have the vaccine. So with my pre-existing conditions and having a compromised immune system, it was kind of important for me to get it, only because, as you just said, it's a serious virus. And I agree with you 100%. I think the country has completely blown it out of proportion, with the lockdowns and the masks and all that nonsense. But, it is what it is, and we've got to deal with it accordingly and use common sense.
Right.
Yeah, well, sorry, Mike. About 80% of the population doesn't have common sense, maybe higher.
That is the big problem, my friend. Big problem.
That is the big problem. So it's just I'm stuck between not getting it and really not wanting to get the vaccine. Have you heard of Mike Adams, the health ranger? He runs the website Natural News.
Unfortunately, yes. Go ahead.
Unfortunately. Okay. So have you had any interviews with Mr. Adams?
That would be no.
Okay. I mean, is your opinion of him on the negative side?
Oh, my personal opinion on all kinds of people don't really matter. What matters is your opinion, not mine. Yes.
Would you have him on as a guest?
Only if he wanted to be on the show.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, there's just a lot of following behind that. That getting a vaccine could lead to DNA damage, and who knows what's in this vaccine if it's going to be healthy for you in the long run.
Well, we'll see.
Yes, I'll let you guys know.
Yeah, we got A live one here. We have a test subject here in the name of Mike Hideous, so he'll let us know what's going on, how he feels at every other hour, and I'll tell you.
I got to tell you, when I got the vaccination, I did. As a matter of fact, Michael, we did the show that night, and I told you that the guy said to me, "You might feel a little weird in like maybe 12 hours," but I tell you, it took 24 hours. And the next day I felt crappy. I pretty much lied on the couch the whole day, all through Sunday after the show last week. And so it did affect me to that. But that happens sometimes even when you get a flu shot.
So you felt like you were hungover?
I felt, how do I explain this? It was tiredness, a little bit beat up, not terribly. My arm hurt like really bad from the injection. That was a serious, like, that really hurt. And as a matter of fact, it still hurts. My arm still hurts from the shot. But I was down on the couch all day. I was so tired. I just felt like I was wiped out, exhausted. But I wouldn't say it was exactly flu-like symptoms.
Right.
I honestly, I don't even, who knows? I could be wrong. It could have been something else.
Interesting.
So.
Well, I hope everything works out for you there.
Me too. I think it'll be all right.
I think you'll be
fine
fine
now.
Yeah.
I'm doing fine.
You'll be all right.
Thank you.
I think all of you will be all right in the end. Don't worry. Just, take the vaccine. Let it run through your veins. It's okay.
Are you taking the vaccine, Mike?
I'm not.
And I respect that.
I'm going to hide in the bunker. Away from humanity. Away from the people that I despise. What's that? Sorry, go ahead.
What if they make it like a mandatory thing in a few years here to just function in society?
I'm way ahead of you. I'm way ahead of you, sir. I've been talking about that sort of thing happening since last year.
Yeah, no, we all have. The ones that listen to the alternate media and aren't keyed into the government. But I'm asking you personally, what would you do if society mandates a vaccine to function?
Well, I'm staying away.
I'm staying away.
Well, Michael has even said, we've talked about this multiple times, or Michael has said the possibility
I'm kind of a nihilist, to be honest, so it doesn't really bother me as much as it bothers a normal person.
But you did make mention that there would be a problem for transportation if you were to fly somewhere.
That's right.
I mean, obviously that would cause you a problem.
It would.
And I don't agree with that at all. But they're talking about the possibilities of getting a vaccine passport for a lesser term.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what the proper term would be, but still, that's just like kind of. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
Life finds a way, Mike.
I'm sure it does.
I mean, it's controlled communism is what it is.
Absolutely.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but yes, it's,
Controlled socialism.
It is. You're controlling the masses. That's communism in a nutshell.
I wouldn't say it's communism per se. I think it goes a little bit beyond communism and beyond that sort of title, that sort of...
Fascism?
Well, I think it goes beyond that too.
So you're saying it's more in depth than...
I think it's worse than that.
Fascist society.
Yeah, I think yes. I think you need a more fancier name than just socialism, communism. I think it goes way beyond those sort of terms.
What would the name be then, Mike?
Well, a good start would be like draconian.
That's a good word for it. Sure. Michael, a couple of weeks ago we spoke about the Project Veritas.
Sure.
And they had just recently caught the guy from CNN who was boasting about how they used in the news the China virus to frighten people because, quote unquote, Michael, fear sells. And they said that the next big fear that they're going to shove down everybody's throat is the Green New Deal. So now they're starting to frighten everybody by saying, oh, we've only got 12 years left to live. The world's going to explode and blah, blah, blah.
Let it explode.
Let it explode. It already has exploded.
I don't care. I don't give a shit. Who cares?
Comes down to survival.
I mean, I'm sorry if you care, but I'm not here to save the world. I'm sorry.
Right.
So
Save
be
yourself.
it. That's right. So be it,
I mean,
if that's
we're
what they want to do.
killing the world, Mike.
Well, so be it. That's all I have to say. Life is what you make of it, not what you hear on television or even by me.
You know who I feel sorry for? I feel sorry for the future younger generations who
That's
are
right.
like the younger than 21-year-olds who are going to have to deal with the continuous nonsense.
I just
that
want to
this
say,
country
Mike,
and
by the
world
way,
is kicking out.
Mike, I hope both of you are proud for taking us down this sort of rabbit hole here. You know, I was talking about Sirius XM. Now look where we're at. So yeah, congratulations to both of you here for taking us down this wild goose chase of sorts. Yes.
I'm jumping ahead of myself. I'm sorry.
That's all right, but that's why we take calls. I'm glad you did call in and you took us down this path. That's all right. I do appreciate that call, by the way. Caller, go ahead and give us any of your final words before we move on from this call here.
Well, sure. Well, you put it bluntly right there, Mike. Draconian would be the word to use. And, what I think COVID is this generation's 9/11. I was in college the time 9/11 happened, and that completely changed the world. And this has also
changed the
world
overnight. Yeah.
And that's their goal, right?
Yep.
And this dates back to pre-scripture times where they invented religion to control and scare the population. Now the population is getting out of control. The only way to scare and control the population now is to instill these 9/11s, these viruses, these artificial wars, to keep people divided, scared, and controlled. And that's the only way they can control us, is to have us living in fear. And that's why Fox News, any major news site, they all read off the script. They all say the same goddamn shit. And it's the 95% of the masses tuned into Fox News and CNN that are controlled, swayed, and unfortunately they buy every goddamn thing that comes out of that TV. So that's what happens, and that's what they want. And we're the outcasts of society that looked at that we are conspiracy theorists because we're portrayed that way in Hollywood movies, on TV, and we're made fun of looking like a meth head, crackhead on the side, saying that our government did 9/11, but they're shadowing us in this picture.
Are you smoking meth,
don't
caller?
Be this person.
Is that what you are?
No.
Projecting
no.
here.
I would never.
Oh, okay.
I'm just giving you the final word here, and
yes, sir.
You can run with it, but definitely not a meth head.
Well, here's the thing. Earlier you were asking if I would take the vaccine, and the thing is,
right.
Well, I will take the vaccine once it's proven 100% effective, and it's pretty close to being there, allegedly. But once it is, I'll feel more safe doing that sort of thing.
Yeah, but it'll be Fox News and CNN telling you that it's 100% safe. The CDC, the FDA, they're all controlled. That's what they want you to do, is to take the vaccine. Obviously, that's why it's free.
I'm going to snort the vaccine, yes.
You're going to snort it?
I'm going to snort it.
I'm going to inject it, man.
No, Mike's already vaccinated. You already did that, yeah.
Well, I mean, that shit's fucking poison, but, I'm never going to touch that shit, ever.
Understood. Well, once again, thank you so much for calling in. And now you have
of course.
You have upset the online trolls. Now they're angry at me.
Good.
They're all fake accounts, though. They're all sock puppet accounts saying, that I'm an idiot, that you're dumb, that the caller's dumb. They're all fake accounts, though.
That's on them.
By one person. We know who you are.
Just one person.
Sad. Anyways, thank you so much for that call.
Well,
Thank you,
Mike.
caller.
You guys take care of yourself.
You got it.
Take care, buddy.
There he goes.
Aloha.
And yes.
He said aloha.
Yeah, I heard that. I was
awesome
like, oh,
is
shit.
that? He's fucking in Hawaii.
That is awesome. See, it could be any of you out there going to Hawaii as well. How nice is that, Hawaii?
Oh, I always wanted to go there.
Lucky him.
Do you ever have a pineapple like right from Hawaii?
Never.
Oh, they taste so much different than the ones you get in the supermarket, which is funny because they pretty much get them from Hawaii or South America, one or the other. But I've had them directly shipped from Hawaii, and oh my gosh, they melt in your mouth. I love pineapple. I love Hawaii.
They melt in your mouth.
Yep.
Not the wisest description, Mike.
Well, they melt in your mouth and not in your hand.
Again, not the best description to use, but yes. So yes, Mike, as I was saying, Sirius XM, I think I'm done.
Okay.
I'm tapping out.
Right on.
But yes, going back to Howard Stern now for a second here. I know everyone evolves. We have evolved here on the show. Everyone does. But ironically, Howard Stern always said negative things about Don Imus. And Mike. And Mike. He used to say he didn't want to become anything like Don Imus. And sure enough, ladies and gentlemen, Howard became Don Imus.
Oh, really?
Right.
So
he became what he hated at one time. Ultimately.
No kidding. No kidding. Do you think it's age? Do you think it has to do with age?
It's age for sure. Of course, he's a lot older now. He's a different guy. We all get that sort of thing. I'm not trying to say you need to be that guy from the 90s. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying to put out a fucking entertaining show. That's all. Not talk about your wife and her cats. There's nothing wrong with that, but I'll get into that in a moment here. But Mike, just recently, the New York Post, they put out a piece on Howard. And I was surprised he didn't exactly respond to the sort of hit piece at all.
Okay.
I was surprised. Usually he would if it was that damning. And the article is titled Howard's End. Shock Jock Stern has lost his sting and mojo by Maureen Callahan. But yes, Howard is 67 years old. He doesn't have to be doing the show at all, but my God. This article was pretty goddamn accurate. It was pretty accurate. And by the way, last December, Howard signed for another 5 years at a reported $120 million.
Wow. Boy, when do we start getting paid that?
That's for sure. But again, Mike, after listening to his show for about a year straight during the pandemic, I have to say, is he really worth that money? In my opinion, no.
That's a good question.
The show is not that good. The endless imitations of his parents that he does, his wife coming down the basement to talk about the cats. You know, I don't even have a problem with his wife, Beth. You know, I actually think she's a nice person. And for those who don't know, Beth Stern fosters cats in partnership with North Shore Animal League America. They have like 25 cats in that fucking house in the Hamptons.
Obviously, this is the new wife.
The new wife. Right.
You remember the other wife?
Allison.
I can't remember.
Yes.
Allison.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. I'm a longtime fan.
Yeah, I knew it all up until he moved from whatever channel it was on FM to Sirius. That's when I stopped listening to him because I know I didn't have access to Sirius radio.
Right. Well, you know, Mike, I tried giving it a chance.
Of course.
I tried being fair. I tried to really downplay everything people would be saying about the show. But holy shit, it's true.
Really?
This article was really accurate. It was scary accurate.
Okay.
But yes, I think I'll be officially tapping out, Mike. I'll be going ahead and canceling the subscription there.
That happens, Michael. That happens.
It's over, folks. All the best material can easily be found online anyways. And same goes with the Opie and Anthony show. You know, Opie did Opie did have a solo show for a bit, and that sucked ass. And of course,
really?
yeah, for sure. And of course, Anthony Cumia went on to host his own show, and ironically, he was hosting a show with Artie Lang, which was awesome.
That before or after the nose?
Well, that was during the
nose?
Yeah, he was showing up late going to the bathroom, snorting heroin on the break.
Oh, man.
So, Artie was using again, but it was awesome for the show. It was great material. But the guy's dying and his nose is falling off. So, there's a bit of you got to find a trade-off there, right?
His nose is falling off.
His nose was fucked.
It's like Michael Jackson.
His nose was awful. Look up Artie Lang, by the way, during that time. Oh, my God.
Is he dead?
No, Artie Lang's alive. He's not dead.
Okay.
No, he's still good. But his nose is dead. He's alive, but his nose is gone. It's awful, by the way. I'm going to throw up a photograph here for all of you. He looks better now. I don't think he's using heroin anymore, but I could be wrong. But the last time I saw him, he looked okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
Didn't they at least give him a prosthetic?
No, his nose didn't completely fall off. It just looks like someone elbowed him right in the nose.
Oh.
He pushed it in there.
Wow.
Have you not seen his nose?
I did. I saw
you did?
a picture
Okay.
you had posted up a while back.
Okay.
And it's been a while, but I keep thinking that for some reason I feel like the nose part, it's been a while since I've seen the picture, but the nose part, I thought they could make a prosthetic for that so that he could at least cover it up.
Well, he should.
It's the front part by the cartilage that wore away, right?
Yeah. My God, it's terrible. It's a good thing you weren't snorting heroin, Mike.
Never heroin. Once I did, but not like on a.
Yeah.
I did coke. I know what it was like when doing coke. But,
Right.
Not heroin.
But not heroin.
I think coke is more dangerous for your nose than heroin is. Only because I could be wrong, but I think cocaine, with all the derivatives that they put in to cut it, might actually be the cause, in addition to the cocaine itself, which eats away the membrane of your nose.
And
I'm
now,
no doctor, though.
And now I have a photograph in the chat room here of Artie Lang, and you could see his face in all its glory with that nose pushed in. Poor Artie. I really like him, by the way, so I hate talking about him. I hate talking about a lot of these people because, I don't hate them or anything.
Sure.
I actually like them, so it's not, I don't really feel very good talking about these people in this way.
Understandable.
But we have to be honest here. We can't tell lies here on the show. But yes, great photograph they're saying of Artie Lang. I don't think it's a great photograph at all of Artie. He looks like shit. His eyes are all glazed over. His hair is like really white, completely white. He's like he's like a kind of like a Santa Claus you'd find at a truck stop. That's probably the best way I could describe the way the bewildered Artie Lang looks in this photograph. Yeah, again, I'm not trying to bust his balls here, but poor Artie Lang in that photograph. But now I think
our heart goes out to him.
Our heart goes out to him indeed. I think he is doing better though since that photograph. But again, after a short run with Anthony Cumia, he sort of disappeared, and then Anthony Cumia hired a new comedian to be his co-host. And if you can even call him a comedian, he's supposed to be a comedian, but again, I don't really find him very funny. His name is Dave Landau, and he's pretty much like the male equivalent to what you'd find in, let's say, Janine Garofalo, Mike.
Janine Garofalo.
Remember that?
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I remember the day I bumped into her on.
Did you bump into her? Did you really?
Oh yeah, dude.
Holy
we
shit.
checked each other out. I thought I was going to hook up with her.
You were going to go out with Janine Garofalo.
Well, it was a strange situation. I was walking down Avenue. I was on Avenue A and I think 8th Street.
Yeah.
St. Mark's Place, which is a very popular street in New York City.
Right.
And I was walking down the street, and we basically ended up coming face to face with each other as we walked towards each other. And mind you, it's crowded. It's summertime. There's a lot of people on the street, and we almost bumped into each other, and we just looked at each other right in the eye. And I'm not bragging here. I'm just telling the truth.
You're not bragging, yeah.
she checked me out, and I was checking her out. I knew who she was.
Yes.
I knew exactly who she was. And like we both kind of looked at each other as we continued to walk away, checking each other out as we kept looking back. It was a weird experience. But I should have went back and said, "Hey, give me your number, because I am going to give you the night of your life."
Wow, look at you, Mike, going in there all out.
Oh, I had a big
Balls
crush
out,
on her. I
Mike.
thought she was hot.
So you went for it.
I didn't. I didn't.
Or you didn't
give
go
her
for
a
it.
number.
Why? Well, why didn't you? What's wrong with you?
Because I was with my girlfriend.
Oh, Mike, look at you. I should have known.
The funny thing is, she was a big Janine Garofalo fan, and after the whole thing disappeared, after Janine kept walking, and we're looking back at each other, I walked up to my girl, and I was like, my girl Vicky at the time, and I said, "Did you see that?" She's like, "What?" I'm like, "Janine Garofalo just checked me out."
So you two locked eyes, and you thought, well, this is the moment I've been waiting for.
Michael, if I were alone,
Yeah.
if I wasn't with my girlfriend at the time,
You would have went in there.
I would have turned around and went right up to her, because I thought she was hot back then. This was like 1990. It had to be 97, 96, possibly.
Well, if you like Janine Garofalo, then you might like Dave Landau. Then he has the same delivery, same like energy. It's almost like it's the same person. It's baffling, to say the very least. But yes, Dave Landau, male equivalent to Janine Garofalo. Look that up. It's very bizarre.
Equivalent.
It's very bizarre. I don't even know how he's a comedian, but he is. You know, a lot of these people, they're comedians, and I think, how the fuck are you a comedian? You don't make me laugh, bitch. At all.
You don't make me laugh, bitch.
Not even one iota of laughter.
Oh, shucks.
But yes, in conclusion, I have to say this about all these people mentioned. I don't want to, I don't really mean to disparage any of them, but I'm just being honest here.
I know.
They're all dead to me.
We can all appreciate that.
They're all dead to me, Mike.
All right.
I'm sorry, but yes, we are moving on here, Mike. We are chugging along here, and of course that means we have to play another little sound drop. Whoa, I didn't mean to play that one. I'm not going to jail yet. There are only people that want me in jail, but they'll never take me alive.
Indeed.
They'll never take me alive. So yes, Mike, moving along we go here. Plenty of dark matters ahead now. Now the moment all of you have been waiting for. We have these very, very pressing issues to talk about here. Are you ready for this, Mike?
Probably.
Again, if it's true, Mike, we have a bombshell on our hands here.
Okay.
So yes, Mike, this is it. Out of all
What
the
do we
people, out of all the people in the world, Jeffrey Prather.
Right. Okay. So let's hear the dirt.
Oh boy. This is terrible, and if the allegations are true, Mike, this is just sick. And it's crazy because, during the first time he was here on the show, we talked to him and he mentioned this warrior school training thing that he does. And, I know plenty of people in law enforcement. I know people who work in different branches of law enforcement, and none of them have anything going on overseas. None of them can, afford that sort of thing. None of them have that kind of money, so it made me a little curious about our friend Jeffrey Prather.
Okay.
It's been several months since we talked to Mr. Prather. Hey, listen, I had sent him an email and invited him on the show, but he didn't.
Recently?
A few weeks ago, but he said he needed more time to prepare to be on. His schedule's a little conflicted as well.
Okay.
But I did not mention that we will be playing this. This is a clip here, Mike. We have 12 minutes of audio here, and this is a sample from a podcast called The Anonymous, or actually it's called QAnon Anonymous Podcast. The QAnon Anonymous Podcast, that's what it's called. And this is like a 12-minute sample from the show. I was even thinking about buying like the premium episode and playing that for all of you here, but I don't think they would have really appreciated that sort of thing, Mike.
Okay.
So, I don't want to piss them off, but anyways, we have time here to listen to this. This is 12 minutes long, and holy shit, this is crazy. This is really, really insane, Mike, and wow. Wow.
Let's check it out.
Let's check it out. Here we go.
Vice President Pence has unfollowed Trump on Twitter. So it looks like the fix was in there. I will talk more about what happens next, but right now, this breaking broadcast is for the Patriots in D.C. So get group armbands, or you need some sort of near-far recognition signals. Colored armbands would be a good way to go. You could hold up different fingers. You could change that every 6 hours or so, but you need to ID your people, keep them in small groups, not trying to get the whole crowd together, but just your group that you came with. Make sure you can recognize them through different colored armbands, and you change those every 6 hours or whatever. And you can also get some challenging passwords and some running passwords. You saw that in Saving Private Ryan, Flash, Thunder, and you can change those every 6 hours. So you will not be infiltrated in the future, because you have already been infiltrated.
First of all, I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about.
It sounds to me like he's talking about some sort of an identification armband that will define you to some sort of a group. So that's all I'm getting from it. I don't know.
But yes, I was just going to say, this podcaster that we're listening to, it's not like a small podcast at all that, has like 30 listeners, that's done by a bunch of mouth-breathing, autistic, can't say that word, but you know who these people are.
So this is being played on someone else's show.
Yeah. This is an interview that they did with one of the quote-unquote victims of Jeffrey Prather.
Oh.
Yes, let's continue.
Okay.
Let's continue. But yes, these boys have acquired a rather stronger following than I imagined. So much respect to them. Again, the name of the podcast is called the QAnon Anonymous Podcast. They released this sample, and it's an interview of a girl who actually attended this warrior school in Australia, Mike.
Right.
So you see, Jeffrey Prather has all these training schools overseas, and now there's these sexual allegations made his way, and this guy, operates this program like a cult. It's incredibly disgusting if the allegations are true, especially coming from this gentleman here, who was supposed to be, like anti-cult, yet he's operating something that seems like a cult.
Can you read to us what the allegations are?
I cannot read that to you. I can only play them for you. Your mind needs that.
Okay.
I will be inviting Jeffrey Prather on, and I definitely will be asking him about these allegations, and I won't ambush him. I'll give him a heads up. I'll give him a heads up and tell him what's going on.
Yeah, we've always been respectful.
If he chooses not to be on, then you know what I'm going to say here.
Yes.
You know what I'm going to call him, right?
Fill me in.
I'm going to call him a pussy. Here we go.
Pussy.
Expect a lot more violence tonight.
He's a pussy. Here we go.
That is the enemy's tactic. Make sure you have your people accounted for and safe at that time.
So this is exactly like I was saying. The QAnon warlord was always going to be pathetic, mostly ineffective, and absolutely out of his mind. But also really worrying because this guy has access to so many firearms, and so many people train under him in all of his classes and follow him in a cult-like manner as well. So he has real like entourage. He's not like Ron Watkins who's just like living in the middle of nowhere.
He's very dangerous, but he also has a big pocket full of armbands of many different colors that he's just switching out multiple times throughout the day, so he's never infiltrated.
There's those armbands.
Codes, like from that movie, Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, he's referencing Saving Private Ryan. He's also referencing the fact that Pence unfollowed Trump. Like, this is like high school drama, like who unfollowed who on Insta.
It's also true that Prather is an author. He wrote 2 books, one of them entitled Chase, Terror on the Border, fact-based fiction by an ex-DEA agent, and the other is called Initiation, Boys Are Born, Men Are Trained, My Journey with an Apache Medicine Man. Here's an excerpt of the blurb for the second book.
Training with the descendants of Cochise and Geronimo, Prather discovers that, though boys and girls are born, men and women must be trained in the rigors of adulthood. He learns that we are defined by our duties to others. Further, we are all connected by an invisible realm of luminous energy, and if we access these etheric meridians, we can direct divine power through us to protect, heal, and connect to all our relations, to literally change our lives and save the world, one life at a time.
The part that really jumped out to me was where he's talking about how men and specifically women must be trained in the rigors of adulthood. Incredibly creepy from a guy who, is kind of like preying on his cult following and his and through his courses on young women. Maddie is a 30-year-old woman from Australia who was involved with Jeffrey Prather's warrior school between the ages of 14 and 17. She got in touch with us after we covered Prather on a Twitch stream and provided us proof of her identity and involvement with his organization. So thanks so much for speaking to us and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Could you start by just telling us a little bit about your life around the time that you got involved with Warrior School and how it came up for you?
Yeah. I was 14, I was young, and I desperately wanted to be a ninja. I was Googling places that had ninjutsu in the name and just found a dojo and went. I'd been at the dojo for a little while and ended up going to a training at a senior teacher's house in the countryside with like everyone else at the dojo. And turned out we weren't there for training martial arts. We were training in something else.
And so you're 14 at the time. So were your parents like, oh, you're going to do kind of extracurricular martial arts stuff?
I had some fairly like hands-off parents. So they would just be like, okay, well, you seem like a pretty intelligent little kid. Like you've got stuff going on. And I had an elder sister who was with me. So I'd convinced her to drive me to this ninja dojo. And she was there too. So they were like, well, if your elder sister's there as well, she's 8 years older than me. So she would have been 22 at the time.
Right. So you walk into your first warrior school session with her, and what's it like?
It starts off as much less crazy than you think it is. Making kind of general statements that the way we live in modern society isn't the best, and maybe other cultures have things to teach us, which I was kind of already into because I was studying a martial art. Like I was like, well, let's see what else is out there, and being more in touch with nature and being powerful and making our own decisions in life, and maybe that modern society wasn't offering us enough initiation and like training to be an adult. And that all kind of sounded pretty good, especially when you're 14. You're like, oh, that's sweet. There is definitely something I'm missing because the world is crazy because I'm 14.
And so there was immediately a spiritual element there, even though you had come in to learn moves, like the kind of first course was already around this stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. It was very like, well, you've been training your body in martial arts and now we're going to talk about like our minds and how that relates to our world. And because a lot of martial arts is like, while you are doing physical things, is the way you're thinking about movement. And a lot of martial arts do have a bit of a spiritual aspect, which I don't think a lot of people, they don't talk about as much.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, I got interested in judo. I remember reading Jigoro Kano's texts and stuff like that.
Yep.
And of course, there's a spiritual element to that. Have you ever watched the movie Equilibrium?
No.
So it's a movie in which Christian Bale does what they call like gun kata, which is like essentially a kind of martial art with guns.
It's sort of like Matrix adjacent, right? Did it come out before the Matrix or after, Julian?
By the way, Mike, there's a lot of people like that in law enforcement that do these sort of, they get into these sort of things, these sort of like martial art things with guns and weapons and shit. It's ridiculous, by the way.
Right.
Because none of it's actually practical.
And he was, correct me if I'm wrong, was he not like a CIA special agent?
Absolutely.
Like, didn't he work
next
to Clinton and Obama and all that?
Right. This is pretty wild, right? Here, let's continue.
Wow.
Let's continue.
Crazy. Yeah.
Can't remember.
It's after. It's like 2002, I think.
Right.
I mean, that's what it reminded me of. Like, is this were there guns in the first session, or is that something that comes later?
By the time that you guys have seen it, it's evolved a fair bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, I live in Australia, so guns are like pretty illegal here, unless you have like very intense government documentation to, like, if you're a farmer, you can have a gun. But that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that was not a part. So it was very much just talking about the spiritual. Back then, it was very based on that Jeffrey Prather apparently had trained under Apache warriors.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of talking about how much foundation he had, how much he'd kind of been like, you know, that white savior man of being like, he'd been adopted by the
Right.
tribe. He'd been let all know all their secret teachings.
Right.
It was a lot more of a discussion about that. And so it kind of blended like a bit of our martial arts was already a bit spiritual, and then just pushing that into being like, okay, well, there's this other warrior kind of type that is Apache, and then let's talk about what they have to teach us. Guns were not really brought into it at all because we don't have access to them.
Right.
But I did know that he specialized in doing like gun martial arts. He came out to Australia at one point and trained us in our martial arts, and then was like, I'm going to show you all my like real world capacities. This is what you would do against a gun.
Right.
And all of us are kind of standing around being like, in what world are we going to fight against a handgun? Like, this is Australia, mate. Like,
Yeah. So basically, he had his own kind of compound and training ground where he would be there a lot of the time. And there was also these training for military types and stuff like that.
Correct.
Self-defense training.
Yeah.
And then there was, of course, this mix of his own kind of cult spirituality and a martial art that also had weapons. And then what happened is what he founded was expanded to places like Australia, where you attended your
Correct.
first course. So his influence is international.
he trained a lot of people who lived in Japan and where the base of our martial art is. And a lot of those people were fairly high up. And then they trained other people who lived in Japan, and then they went back home to their own countries. So I would not be surprised if it spread to like Brazil or other countries or France, or this is probably has a lot longer tentacles than you would think.
I can see some parallels to Nexium too, where there are huge segments that are mostly kind of like a multi-level marketing kind of scam or a kind of self-improvement thing. Then there's this like some more legitimate stuff buried in there. And then there's like a core of basically secrecy and abuse.
100%, yeah. In a lot of martial arts, you're having to suspend belief because, you know, you're coming in with your normal world expectations of like, I shouldn't be punched in the face.
Mm-hmm.
But in martial arts, you kind of sometimes like, to get better, I'm occasionally going to have to get punched in the face and it's going to feel wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And which is kind of a perfect breeding ground for a cult because you're having to constantly be like, this feels a bit wrong, but it must be the correct thing to do.
Right.
Because someone who I trust to help me in certain ways is helping me in this other way. I'll just have to ignore my natural feeling of being like, oh, this is a bit off.
And so you stuck around for 3 years, and as part of the martial art, you took part in this kind of initiation ritual. I guess my first question about the initiation ritual is, by the time you did it, did you already feel like, shit, I might be in a cult?
I definitely felt that these people believed a lot more than I did. I grew up in a fairly non-religious family, so I'm kind of used to accepting that other people have religious beliefs that I don't, and that's fine for them. And part of me had just been like, well, maybe this is just their religious beliefs and that's fine for them. But then I'm not sure whether it was like I had like not eaten and we would like supposed to be like dancing all night in this vigil for warriors coming home, and had exercised for a long time and it was in a different place, but like I started having like some like visual hallucinations, and I was like, well, maybe this shit is legit. Like, I don't know. The secrecy of it felt important, like that you had to not tell anyone else, otherwise it might be like a glass ball, like it might get broken if you mentioned it to someone who wasn't a part of it because they wouldn't understand. There was
a part of the initiation, you sent me some pictures, and it's really quite visually impressive. It's basically a group of women in these kind of in these clothes, but you're covered with white goo.
Since I reached out to you guys, I've tried really hard to like kind of think about what was happening at that point in time, and
She was covered in white goo, Mike.
Yeah, what's that about?
I have no idea. Let's continue listening here before this clip drops out. This clip is almost up here, Mike.
Okay.
For me, cannot remember why we were. I remember it being ice cold. We'd been outside over, I would say, winter, and just had like cold stuff thrown at our faces. Kind of looking at it now, and I'm like, wow, this is kind of a bit gross. Like, why are we standing around covered in white, clunky stuff?
The one thing that struck me as well from the photos is that Jeffrey was present that day.
Correct, yeah.
You have been listening to a sample of a premium episode
Oh
of
my.
QAnon Anonymous.
QAnon
We
Anonymous.
don't run
yes.
any advertising on the show.
Yeah,
and
check
we'd
their
like
show
to
out.
Keep it that way.
For $5 a month, you'll get access to this episode, a new one each week, and our entire library of premium episodes.
Yeah, check them out, boys and girls. I was going to buy it again and let you all hear it, but I don't think they would have appreciated it at all if we did that, Mike.
Very interesting.
We will see what happens. That's pretty wild. Who the hell knows what they were doing? This white clunky stuff they were being they were being covered in, Mike.
Wow. Well, I'm kind of speechless, man. We've spoken to him so many times.
That's right.
A number of times. For me, probably about at least 3 to 4 times or 5 times. And I every time we got off the show,
Yeah.
I always said to you, wow, like he always blew me away with some sort of a story. Always. And wow. Who knows, man?
Who knows, right? Yikes.
I mean, we can't blame the guy yet because we don't have
we don't
the
know.
proof that.
Yeah.
We don't. So I don't want to be. I'm not making any accusations without knowing what the story is.
Yes.
I mean, you
Well,
got
Mike,
one woman telling.
I might have to just buy that and listen to it in its entirety and send it to you, so you can hear it yourself. And
Sure.
we'll find out, and we'll bring him on again, so he can defend himself.
Why not?
I think if he truly has the balls, he should. If he has any kind of self-respect, any sort of integrity, he answers to these salacious allegations.
Sure.
He's got some explaining to do.
Right. If he is 100% sure about himself and confident that he is not guilty in any way, then by all means he should, stand up.
He should.
And talk about it.
He should address it, even if it's nonsense. He should address it anyways,
Yeah.
Especially now, Mike. Especially now, since that guy has more eyes on him. People are watching what he's doing now.
I got to tell you, I'm shocked.
I'd be careful.
I really am.
I'd be careful if I was him.
I'm very shocked.
Oh, yes. Let me ask you this, Mike. If you had a daughter and she attended one of these schools, let's just say she attended the school with Jeffrey Prather, and let's say hypothetically speaking here, let's just say he, touched her inappropriately. Let's just say that she felt uncomfortable about the situation. She didn't want to, tell you about it later. Didn't want to tell anybody about it later. Then she does. How would you feel in that situation?
Wow. First of all, good question. Secondly, where do I even go?
Would you still feel
look,
nice and cuddly towards Jeffrey Prather if it in fact was true?
Oh, of course not.
My God.
I mean, if I had a daughter or any child, boy, girl, monkey, I would, I am a protective person to those who I love and care for. I always have been. The closest thing I've ever felt to somebody was always with a girlfriend, because you put yourself into that relationship 100%. At least I did. So I become very protective. So if I had a daughter and she had an issue with the person we're talking about right now, who I've only spoken to but don't know personally, I guess ultimately, like anyone else, I'd have to weigh out the circumstances and see what's right. And not for nothing, and you and I have both spoken about this before in the past, not for nothing, but there is a possibility that this could be a setup.
It's possible.
All right?
You never know.
Exactly. Nothing is far from being impossible.
That's right.
So who knows for sure?
Would you feel like you would have committed like a Class A assault?
Again, very difficult to say since I am not a father.
If it's true.
Right, of course. And that's the other thing, too. I would have to be 100% sure. And, you know, I guess a father would take his daughter's word at it.
Yeah.
You know, which could be dangerous because it's all about
right. It's a hard
telling
thing.
The truth.
Yeah, it's a very difficult situation.
Without a doubt.
It's a tough one. And, you know, I've committed a number of Class A assaults, but I've been able to avoid any repercussion.
Careful what you say, my friend.
Oh, it's all a matter of public record. But that's another story. That was, again, if that was my daughter, I would have found this man and have taken care of this issue myself.
Sure.
I'm just being transparent, but, you know, I'm just telling you the truth. I live by my own code of ethics here. Those are lines that you do not cross without consequence in my realm.
Understandable.
I'm looking forward to hearing from Mr. Prather.
Well, all I can say is I hope it's not true.
I hope it's not true either. I mean, I'd be really disturbed if these allegations turned out to be factual.
Yeah.
I need to go back. I need to hear that audio, though, that complete audio from that podcast.
Didn't you have a guest on that? I keep thinking that we had a guest, or you had a guest at one point who also had a problem. Later on, I know we've had people that have died, like Tracy
Wyman.
Tracy Wyman, and I keep thinking that there was somebody who ended up having some sort of an issue, an accusational issue, and I can't think of who it might have been.
We also had,
anyway.
We had a few people die on us, yeah.
Yeah, I remember Tracy. Was there anybody else?
I believe there was also Matthew Stein. He had a brain aneurysm, something of that nature, when he was out for a hike. I'm not sure if you actually talked to him or not.
What did you say? He was hiking?
Yeah, I believe he was going on a hike, and that sort of thing happened to him. Yeah, this show was the last he did, by the way.
Wow. Another one, just like Dr. Aquino.
Correct.
Wow.
Odd times, right?
I'll tell you, man.
Oh, and of course, Nicole Bass, another person who died who was scheduled to be here, said some weird things and also brought up Howard Stern. And she said that the Stern show was the only show that she was going to do. And shortly after that, she died.
Wow.
Very
when was
odd.
that?
That was a few years back when we were just starting up the show.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. But yeah, there's been a number of people who have died. But, you know, that's what people do, Mike. You know, they end up dying.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, it's a habit, right? It's a habit that humans tend to have. You know, they tend to die. They make it a habit of dying.
It's kind of weird when it happens, especially with the show. You know?
Right. No, I'm with you on that. It's very unusual when someone dies, but even stranger, you know, when a lunch lady is inviting students over for sleepovers as well.
Hey. All
yeah,
right.
but the lunch lady though, Mike, come on.
Well, it depends. Was she hot?
No, not in this story. I mean, I did come across this article about a lunch lady from Louisiana who was having sleepovers. Yeah, guilty, exactly. She was supplying porn, alcohol, and of course, the sex.
Did you say porn, alcohol, and is that what you said?
Yeah.
So they were all right. So let me get this straight. Kids from what, high school?
I think they were pretty young. I'm not quite sure how. Well, 13 to 16.
And all right. And I'm assuming they were all boys.
All boys, right?
Oh man, how come this never happened when I was a kid?
With 38-year-old Dawn Marie Bay, who worked in the cafeteria out there in Louisiana, according to this article.
Why didn't she work in Paterson, New Jersey when I was going to grammar school and invite me over for porn and and alcohol.
She's being
and
very
who knows
nice.
what.
Is that what you're saying?
Quaaludes.
Judging by her appearance, I'm not quite sure if you want to be, spending that sort of time with this lady.
Hey, listen, at age 9, I would have been.
You would have gone with anyone. Yeah. You would have done anything.
Of course, I was like a kid.
So there were accusations thrown her way that Bay, that's her last name, hosted these sleepovers, and they watched porn and they drank alcohol and they had sexual encounters. That's what the investigation says here.
Lucky kids.
Lucky kids, you think?
Come on, everybody says that. When these young boys get involved with older women in their schools, that they're molested. I don't know, man. I would have jumped on the opportunity.
Again, I don't know if you would have jumped on this one, Mike.
Well, again, yeah, all right, I'll give you that. But I mean, when I was a boy, I mean, I had crushes.
You would have
on
gone
certain
for it.
Teachers, absolutely. I mean, there were teachers that I found attractive.
I didn't
as a
have
young boy.
I didn't have any attractive teachers. I gotta be honest. No.
Oh wow.
Not even. They were just.
I guess I was just a horny little boy.
Man, you were going after everything. Look at you, Mike. No holding back.
Well, you got to start somewhere, Michael.
Man, you started very young, trying to bang the teachers. Look at you, Mike.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit.
I had a lot of what can I tell you? I had a lot of testosterone when I was a kid.
Yeah. You still do. You still do, Mike. What are you talking about?
Not as much as I'd like, but I am a lot older now.
That's funny. By the way, Mike, I also did come across another article I thought I should bring to your attention. As you know, Glenn Danzig has been out in the media.
Has he?
He has been making the rounds, yeah. Caught my attention indeed. There's also a tour he's going to be doing with the original lineup of the Misfits.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you might have caught wind of that. I'm not sure which.
Truth be told, I have no interest whatsoever in those guys.
I don't either, but I just thought I should tell you about what's going on here with Glenn and Jerry Only. I'm sure they are rubbing their hands together, thinking this is going to be a nice payday for them.
Oh, it already has.
It's a big tour. It's a very big tour.
I've got some inside connections, and I've heard quite a few things.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I know some stuff.
Interesting. Well, of course, he was also making the rounds promoting a new movie he's got going on.
Oh, I saw it. It's absolutely horrendous.
Well, I was just about to mention that, he's promoting that movie. He created some sort of vampire cowboy film.
Right.
Yeah, Mike, that is corny as hell.
Hot girls with big, gigantic boobs that have eyeballs on them, or mouths, one or the other. The graphics to the film were just absolutely like laughable. And I saw most of it. All right, I'll be honest. I saw about 30 minutes of it. And I had to turn it off because it was absolutely hilarious.
Really?
And it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be a serious horror film. And I saw 30 minutes of it, and I was like, this is a joke. I can't even watch this. It's pathetic. But, and he had, what do you call it when they have an audience that comes in and watches the film like as a test? Is there a term?
Yeah, and in television, they call that like a focus group.
Okay, right. So he had some sort of a focus group where they sat down and watched this screening of his film, which I do not know what the name is called. And a lot of people did react exactly what I'm telling you. Like they were like, is this a joke? The graphics were bad. The dialogue was bad. The acting was horrendous, especially with these girls using French accents where they were just poorly portrayed. And from what I saw, I was just like, oh my God, this is really bad. But what do I know? I don't know anything. So, anywho, now you're telling me he's promoting this? Is he trying to is he going to get it made better?
I think he was talking about it. He does have, it's called the new one. It's coming out called Death Rider, I believe.
Okay.
The Death Rider in the House of Vampires.
All right.
I believe that's what it's called, but from looking at it, yeah, it looks like shit. I wonder if they will get Tom Jones for the soundtrack. That's right up their alley, right?
I know where you're coming with.
That's
coming
right.
from with that comment.
It's true, though, right?
Yeah, right.
A little unknown fact there, right?
Yeah.
That's funny. A lot of people don't know that, right?
I don't think so, unless they read my book.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
know what we're talking about. But...
That's a good one. That is a good one. Of course, that sounds like something that would go straight to DVD.
Yeah, or Netflix.
Or Netflix, yeah. You'll find that at the Walmart bin pretty soon. $5.
Yeah.
Again, I actually like Glenn Danzig. I love the music. No issue with it, but this movie looks like shit. It reminds me of when Kiss had a movie.
Oh my God, Phantom of the Park.
Terrible movie.
I think that was 1976 or 77. I remember the day it came out. I was so anxious to see it.
Yeah.
So anxious. My parents took me out to dinner that day, and I kept telling them, we got to get home. Kiss is going to be on TV. I got to watch it.
You got to watch Kiss, yeah.
I was a huge Kiss fan. Huge.
Understood. Huge Kiss fan indeed.
Sir.
That movie was awful.
Oh my God, it was terrible.
Even drinking and while smoking, I just completely lost focus on the movie.
Oh, how could you not? I mean, it's just
I tried.
horrendous. Yeah, it's horrendous.
I took my gimmicks and it still didn't work. It sucked. But yes, Danzig, his movie looks like it's going to be a stinker.
Yeah.
Looks like it's going to be a stinker. But Mike, what I was going to ask you was, I'm sure you agree with him because, he came out in this interview with RollingStone.com and Glenn was saying cancel culture will prevent a new punk rock explosion.
Oh, absolutely.
But I agree with him.
Absolutely. 100%. Couldn't agree more.
Oh, yeah. I do agree with him. In the interview, the singer is asked about, some of the lyrics and, of course, the inspiration from horror movies, blah, blah, blah. The interviewer brought up the song Last Caress, as you know, and the article says, which contains some purposely shocking lyrics that the singer noted is not a songwriting method that would go over well today. And,
of course
I agree with Glenn. He goes, and it says, quote, it's just a crazy ass song. He explained, we would do things just to piss people off.
That's right. There's another song too called Bullet, which is about
great song.
killing John F. Kennedy,
right?
As well as accusing them of having killed Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's Hollywood Babylon. I'm sorry.
Marilyn Monroe, right?
And again, just there's a couple comments of like talking about Jackie O, suck Jackie O, or suck Jackie, suck. Masturbate me, sort of like. I mean,
that's romantic.
Punk rock was freaking punk rock, and the Misfits were in a class by themselves. But if you put it in a whole, punk rock was punk rock. Today, what do you have? Emo. There's no punk rock. It's all bleeding hearts and oh poor me. Oh, I'm so sad. The world sucks. It's ridiculous.
Sounds like a Michael Graves song.
Yeah.
But yes, he added it was just like, fuck your system, fuck all this bullshit. It was something else. I don't think people will ever see anything like it again. There won't be any new bands coming out like this. Now they will immediately get canceled, quote.
That's right. Remember when Al Gore's wife didn't she start up the whole warning label on music?
I believe so, yeah. I think she did come up with the sticker. Someone did, right, with that parental
I'm almost
discretion.
positive it was Al Gore's wife. Almost positive.
Something like that, I believe, yeah.
There was also, Tipper or O'Neill, isn't it?
You might be right, but yes, go ahead.
The point of the matter is, all right, so up until the 80s, 90s, you had music, punk rock, death metal, speed metal, whatever you want to call it, grindcore. All that stuff came out, and it was definitely on the edge. Okay, in fact, it was probably over the edge, very controversial. A lot of curse words, a lot of anti-this, anti-that, anti-government, anti-religion, so on and so forth. And then you had the whole warning symbols coming out, telling people, all right, well, children under the age of 18 shouldn't listen to this. Now you've got this cancel culture who is so hopped up on the idea that they're going to make the fucking world better, and they're all living a dream, because it's never going to happen. The sad part is the government, those who are in the government like AOC and the other crackpots, are all trying to enforce this on us. Did you hear today that they are taking down, or there was an article in the San Francisco newspaper by some writer about how in Disneyland they are now dealing with a controversial issue of how when Snow White is in her coma, Prince Charming kisses her to bring her out of the coma. Do you know what they're saying? It's a poor influence that shows a woman being taken advantage of. I'm paraphrasing here. A woman being taken advantage of while she's asleep. So in other words, Prince Charming comes by, kisses her while she's asleep in a coma, and that's considered to be wrong. These people, Michael, they're out of their minds. They really are.
Yeah, I don't really know what to make of that. I did see that, but I thought, what grown adult would be complaining about this?
Well, it's not so much the adults as it is the newer generation of people who are all part of this cancel woke culture. They're all little pussies, in my opinion, all of them.
And Glenn Danzig goes on to say it would never happen, or would never have happened. We're lucky it happened when it did, because it'll never happen again. That's when he's talking about his band.
That's right.
And he says he won't have any of these or any of those kinds of bands ever again. Everyone's so uptight and PC, it's just like, okay, whatever. Quote Glenn Danzig. And again, I agree with him to a certain extent, to be honest. Everyone does seem to be rather uptight, and they do seem to have a stick up their ass. And there's a lot of people like that. A lot of people like that in this world. A lot of people need to loosen up and relax a bit. People are losing their patience and collective minds over things that don't really matter in life. It's no different than before COVID BC, Mike. Before Christ, yes.
COVID BC. That's a good analogy.
Yeah, it's all the same to me, though. You know, in my humble opinion, speaking of the Misfits, by the way, Mike, actually, go ahead. I'll ask you this later, by the way. I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, not at all. You can go ahead. I was just jabbering.
I was just going to ask you, you know, you spend time touring and doing all that jazz with the Misfits. I was just going to ask you, now that I'm curious, what songs did you, like, what songs did you enjoy covering? And which songs did you just hate covering, Mike?
Everything that we did, everything that was old prior to the newer 1995 Misfits, everything that we did that was classic Glenn Danzig, I enjoyed. Anything that was new, I absolutely hated.
So you thought it was dumb?
I thought there was no validity to it. I thought there was no essence. It was just like bubblegum punk to me.
The American Psycho album, you think it's trash?
Right. Yeah. I just didn't like it. What can I say? I mean, I'm sorry.
You're not a fan. Like You're not a fan. So learning those lyrics when you were on that tour bus must have been, I guess, irritating for you.
Well, I don't know if irritating would be the word. I couldn't grasp it because, to me, it didn't have the weight, if you will, that the early music had, that Danzig had written. I mean, I had a lot of respect for the guy. I do have a lot of respect for the guy. He was a hero of mine. I grew up in a town, only a few miles away, and it was a big deal for me to know that Glenn Danzig had reached a level where he came from an alternative musical style, whereas the top 40 in rock and roll was everything from Led Zeppelin to Leonard Skinner, Grateful Dead, and I was sick of that, as a young man. and I wanted to see bands like the Misfits take over. And then eventually Nirvana really kind of kicked everybody in the ass, and by the early 90s we had Nirvana like changing what music was about.
Did you like Nirvana, by the way?
I got into Nirvana at the time. I had just gotten married, and it was my wife at the time who actually got me into Nirvana. I could take them or leave them. I wasn't a huge fan, but I respected them.
But they had some songs you liked, in other words.
Yeah, I had the first record, Bleach, back in like 1980, I guess about 87, 86.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Very nice.
And
very nice.
Didn't even like, I didn't even realize who they were and how much of an influence they were going to be by 1994 or 93, but they definitely made an impact, no doubt about it.
Very nice. Well, I'm sure it's safe to say that you agree with Glenn Danzig and what he was saying on Rolling Stone magazine. He seems to be pretty accurate with his assessment of today's society and how punk rock would probably not have that same push as it once would have had back in the early day before things got a little turned upside down. You can't really say certain things anymore. You can't really have too much fun anymore. Someone will get offended, and then, all hell breaks loose once someone gets offended. Once that happens, it's like, you're dead to them. They're going to do anything to ruin your life. And I've known plenty of people like that, Mike. Plenty of people want to ruin my life.
Sure.
And I tell them, go ahead. You want to kill me? Go ahead. You know where to find me. I'm not hard to find. If you're such a badass, come and do it already. Come and fucking do it. I've been waiting for a long time, but none of this is new. I've had people make these threats plenty of times. People were telling me to show up at certain addresses, handle it like a man per se. So, all of these situations have happened for a long time in my life. So, that's the sort of thing that I've been doing for years, Mike. But, people nowadays, they want to bring lawyers, they want to call the cops, bring attorney, they want to do all this bullshit, They want to handle it, like gentlemen. Not anymore.
I as I said before, I sincerely believe that America is really getting whacked out with these. You know what it is to me, Michael? It's the thought police. It's the thought police. They tell you what you can and cannot think and do or say. And quite frankly, you know what I say to that? F you.
Ooh.
F you.
That's right. You get a slap on the wrist, Mike. You get a slap on the wrist.
Nobody tells you, and I know you'll agree with me on this, nobody tells me what to say or think or do. As long as I'm not hurting somebody else.
That's right. I agree.
I know you do, because I know you have the same mentality as me when it comes to subjects like that.
That's true.
Nobody's going to tell us what to do. These people coming out telling, oh, well, they even want to make you think that men can have babies. Do you know the new term now is not a woman who's pregnant, it's birthing people.
I feel pregnant after I eat a lot.
I feel like I have an abortion when I go to the bathroom.
That's right. When I go number 2, I feel relieved and liberated. Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I had a little human come out of me there. Yeah.
A little brown human.
Little brown baby came out of my stomach. Men can get pregnant, Mike. It's true when you eat a lot.
Such crap.
Are you going to give birth sometime, Mike? Is that what you're telling me here?
I will give birth after I eat a bunch of cheese.
Good Lord. Good Lord. Mike, we still have some emails to get through. And of course, we have your favorite people on earth to talk about here as well before we shut it down. We have the evangelicals, Mike, your favorite people on earth.
Oh, good.
We love them.
Golly.
We love them so much here on this program. Praise Jesus. And Mike, I have to be honest. Earlier I kind of said I was like a nihilist. And for the longest time, I had sort of difficulty sort of understanding that, being like an atheist, you sort of have to realize that essentially you are a nihilist. And it took me a long time to accept that. And now I'm starting to realize what it really is. and what it really was my entire life. You know, I didn't even know there was a word for it early on.
Okay.
Yeah, it's baffling. It's baffling, that sort of mindset I had, even at a young age. You know, I tried to sort of erase that sort of mindset and try to go along with the crowd, the in crowd. But Mike, you know, all these issues and plot holes and gaps and just inaccuracies throughout everything made me realize, you know what, Mike, I'm a fucking nihilist.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
That's why I'm a Satanist.
I know, and you're a Satanist. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yet we get along. Yet we get along just fine, even though I think Satanism, I don't really like subscribe to that sort of thing. You know, it's not, it doesn't mean like I look down upon anyone that subscribes to anything. I just sort of think I don't really believe anything like that. You know, I just, all of it is just, it's just, like I'm staring into the abyss, Mike. You know, I try to sort of understand these sort of things, but I think it's all bullshit in the end.
I think when it comes to the whole Satanist term with me, tell me if I'm wrong. I think what you appreciate about it is that the theory of it all, or the method of it all, if you will, is take your own responsibility for things.
Well, that's the underlying message that I do appreciate and value. Right. 100%. I just think you don't really need to follow anything else once you learn that. I just think you could cut yourself off from any labels or anything. I just think you're kind of, you go into sort of your own individual temple in a way, per se.
That's right.
Your own palace.
You're absolutely right.
You don't need to label yourself a Satanist or anything. You are your own God, I guess you can say. Your own creation, your own power of one.
That's absolutely right.
Right. Well, I'm glad you agree with me to a certain extent, Mike, yes.
Oh, no doubt. That's why we see eye to eye on a lot of things, because it's about common sense. It's about taking your own responsibility for things, and I know you do that. So ultimately that's what it comes down to. Let everyone live their lives, no matter how bad or stupid they may be. If they're too stupid to be in your life, you just eliminate them from your life.
Right.
And you carry on.
You cut them out.
You don't go around like this woke culture, this cancel culture, by saying, well, you can't do this and you can't do that, and it's wrong to do this and it's wrong to think that. And get away from me, man. We've been doing fine for thousands of years. Back off with your thought police nonsense. I mean, if these people are anything, they're pussies.
Oh my. I agree with you, though.
I know you do.
They are pussies indeed. I had to play it, by the way.
That is one badass lightning strike. I like that.
Yeah, so that is the infamous thunderclap.
That's what I meant to say, thunderclap. Sorry.
That's very, very famous. And that little bit there, oh yes, you've heard that for years on terrestrial radio. Those who know. Now, Mike, we do have some emails to get through before we sort of wind down. We are at that final stretch. We finally found ourselves in that final stretch in the game, in the baseball game here, Mike. We're playing a ball game.
Right on.
Right, and of course, this comes from Dave. Hopefully it's not Dave Landau.
Or Dave Grohl.
Or Dave Grohl. But Dave chimes in with, hey, Michael and Mike, I like you guys a lot, but why do you have to make fun of religion and politics? Michael, you're always poking fun of people I like. Why do you do that? And of course, that comes from Dave. Hopefully, again, that was not Dave Landau or Dave Grohl. But I have to say, well, thanks for emailing us, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Why do I make fun of politics and religion? Well, your personal... Yeah, well, why not? Your personal truth is a punchline to me. Let that marinate in all your minds. Your personal truth is a punchline to me. Your life is a punchline to me. Very much like the names of people who have trashed me or other shows for that matter. Once you sort of find out who these people are, you kind of already know where it's going to go. Again, Mike, making fun of religion and politics is hilariously, it's hilariously funny. First of all, as insane as that sounds, it's fucking funny to make fun of politicians and people that are, really down that sort of rabbit hole of religion. The ones that are completely blinded by religion.
I wonder how old this person is.
I know, that's a great question. I wonder how old they are. They must be pretty old.
You think? I
think
was
so.
Say, I was going to say young because, first of all, it seems to me that he's a religious person.
You think it's a young guy?
Which is fine.
It could be.
I think he's young. Yeah, I
be.
think he's got a. I'm gonna take a crack and say he's got to be anywhere between 35 and 25.
Pretty good. I would have the sense. You might be right.
But here's my point. I think he's probably a religious person, obviously, and obviously has some some associations with politicians. Here's my thing. I think the older a person gets, I think they begin to realize that it doesn't make a damn difference
right
who or what you talk about. You got to learn how to grow a thick skin. Unfortunately, it took a little while for me to get to that point, but I have reached that point. And when I crap on somebody's parade, especially politicians, which I have absolutely no respect for, I think to say the things that you or I may say about them is simply a reaction to the product of what is happening around us.
Right. I'm with you.
He has to learn how to, I guess, accept
that not everyone's going to see life the way they do.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one. And, I do side with him in the way that, he doesn't know any better. He thinks he does, but, when you know something's bullshit, Mike, why do you keep pretending that it isn't? Why is there that gap with humanity right now? Again, you already know these politicians lie, yet why do so many people support them? You know that as well, Mike. But why do you want to pander to these people? That's what confuses me the most.
Tough call, I guess, huh?
Yeah, it's bullshit, but you still want to pander to this audience. You still want to be a part of that group. Why?
Yeah.
And you're a Satanist, Mike. I mean, if once they find out, at first, they think it's all good. It's all fun and games. Oh, we got the Satanist guy here. He likes some of what the Republican Party says. We like him. But as soon as you piss them off, it's back to being a Satanist. You do this, you do that. We never liked him.
Which is weird because
they start remembering what you are.
90% of Satanists are liberal Democrats.
That's right. A lot of them are. I
mean, the few people who I do know who are associated with Satanism are from the left, and a lot of times hard left.
Very hard left, yeah.
So they look at me like,
like you're crazy,
right winger. You're a Reaganite.
You're nuts.
You're not. You're a Trumper. Hey, whatever, man. It all comes down to you don't like it. There's the door, man. There's the door.
That's what it always comes down to. But yes, Mike, I'm with you on that one. It's just interesting because last week we talked about Caitlyn Jenner. And right now, all the Republicans they're like wondering, can we support this person?
Right.
That's what the whole discussion is right now. That's what, the older folks in America are talking about right now. Can we support this person? And see, Mike, that's what I was telling you. I was going to say they're not going to actually accept this person at all just because they pander to the right. Once they get mad, they remember, oh yeah, you're a man in a dress.
Mm-hmm.
You're Bruce Jenner. You're this Olympic guy. You're not, they say that about everyone. They start to remember things, oh, he's Hispanic. Oh, he's Italian. He's a Satanist. They start to remember these things. Oh, he's a Jew. He's got a big fucking nose. They start to remember these things. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's why I said I can't really, align myself with any of these fucking groups, Mike, because, once I piss them off, I hear all of these things come back. Oh, I hear them come back. So, at the end of the day, it's fuck you like it's fuck me. Essentially. That's what it is. Go ahead.
Have you heard Mr. or Mrs. Bruce Jenner's her what would you call it? Her candidate speech, or I don't even know what you would call it. Like I heard her commercial and how she wants to make a difference and what she believes.
I heard something, but not entirely. I just heard a few minutes of her discussing a few things, but again,
yeah,
it was in passing. I had other things going on. I didn't really pay too much attention. I should have, though.
I think that I gotta say I'm very surprised
At what exactly?
Well, that Mrs. Bruce would be going for
this party.
The right.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a little unusual, correct?
You think?
It's a little unusual. It's a bold step. It's a bold step.
I don't know one gay transvestite that would ever associate themselves with the right. Not one.
Yeah, I have some gay friends, and they hate anything having to do with the Republican Party. They don't like the show very much. They only like a few selected guests that I do bring on here, but a few of the gay listeners that we have, they don't like all this banter about these sort of things.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't like Caitlyn Jenner, some of them, by the way.
Why? Because she's going right? Would that be the reason?
No, even prior to that.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
Yeah, not exactly. Caitlyn Jenner wasn't always on the best terms with some of these folks.
Is that so?
Yeah. Strangely enough, that's what's kind of unusual, but they don't really like Caitlyn Jenner, believe it or not.
I gotta say, this is all news to me, Michael. I mean, I guess I'm not up on Bruce Jenner, but Caitlyn Jenner, whatever.
Caitlyn Jenner, yes.
Yeah. I'm shocked. I really gotta say, I'm shocked.
By the way, 71 years old.
Is it? No.
Caitlyn Jenner is 71 years old, yeah.
Are you sure? I thought he was in the 60s.
I looked it up. 71.
Okay.
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
Wild. And
Wow.
S Hot Glass in the chat room says, don't forget Mr. Jenner killed someone drunk driving, if not mistaken. I believe
that's right.
I believe they did hit somebody.
Absolutely
yes,
right.
That's true.
Yes, I heard that again. About a week ago, I heard that on the radio.
Right. Well, once again, Mike, I forgot to thank Dave for sending that email, by the way, that sort of sent us down the rabbit hole here and had us ranting and raving. We appreciate that, Dave. Hopefully you're not Dave Landau, but again, we like you, Dave. Thanks for sending in that email. I hope I did not offend you with any of that nonsense there. We are not anti-religious or anything. I'm not anti-religion. If that's what you want to do with your life, go ahead. It's okay with me.
And thank you for listening, and I hope that you will continue to listen and maybe expand your thoughts on what we do here on the show.
Are they calling the bird?
No, that is a phone call coming in on my end. Obviously, I won't get it.
You won't be picking that up.
I won't.
You should have.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of busy right now.
We could have brought them on the show.
Yeah, no, we don't want to bring this person on.
Oh, it's a bad person, huh?
Yeah, you know.
Oh, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
What's been going on in that situation? Can you? Well,
I can't talk about it.
You can't really talk about it, but in terms of like in terms of like what you're doing right now in regards to music, can you share anything for us here? Your listeners now.
Michael, I don't I wouldn't even know where to begin because I don't have an answer for you. Everything has every so-called. All I can say is I don't have an answer.
It's a shitty situation, in other words.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on. I really don't.
Oh my, okay. Well, I'm looking at this bottle here and getting close to the end here, Mike.
Your bottle?
My bottle here, yeah. It's looking empty almost. That means the show's almost done.
Is that how you measure your shows, by the end of the bottle?
Sometimes, not always. Not always, but yes. You know, it's the litmus test. But yes, we have another email here from James, last name Miller. He says, "Hey brother, love your show. You guys are great. Please get a library channel." I think that's what he's saying. It would be appreciated. Much love. Please bring back on Max Egan or David Icke or James Corbett. Or try to locate Dean Clifford. Well, thank you for that, by the way, Jim. I will try my best to bring Max Egan on.
What's a library channel?
I have no idea. I think he's talking about some sort of podcast thing. I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
I could be wrong. But Max Egan, I was trying to bring, he was scheduled to be on here at least 3 times already, and it's fallen through. So I'm not sure if I can count on him to do a live show with Max Egan anymore. Not very reliable. So
did I interview him with you?
Yeah, you were on here with us.
Okay, I knew the name sounded
yeah.
familiar. I just couldn't place who he was.
We're gonna have to do a pre-record with Max Egan since his internet is always going in and out. He's in Australia. For those that don't know.
Oh, that guy. Okay, I remember him now. Yeah.
Yeah, for those that don't know, his internet is always bad, and Australia is known to have really shit internet. For those that don't know.
Doesn't he drive around in like an RV where he never gets a signal?
Oh no, that's a different guest.
Oh, okay, all right, I stand corrected.
That's a different guy.
He's from Australia too, isn't he?
I'm not sure where that. Well, no, he's not from Australia.
He was in Australia, I think, when we did the interview, no?
I think he was, but no, that's not where he's from.
Him and his wife.
Yeah. No, they live in the States.
Oh, okay. All right.
Right.
Okay, I stand corrected again.
So, Mike, we are almost at the end. We are almost at that 2-hour period. And my God, that took a lot of energy. This show has been pretty phenomenal so far, and we are getting close to the end here, and that means we will be talking about your evangelicals, Mike, your favorite people on earth.
Yeah.
The evangelicals, and of course, they are rapping for Jesus.
My rhymes are fly, my beats are sick, my crew is big and it keeps getting bigger. That's 'cause Jesus Christ is my nigga.
Jesus Christ, baby. Here we go.
Oh my God. That is hilarious.
He's a life changer, miracle arranger, born to the virgin mom in a manger. Water to wine, he's a drink exchanger, and he died for your sins. I preach the word, that's my gig, and I rhyme better than Notorious Big. All the other MCs, I wish them well, but if you live in sin, you burn in hell.
That's right. Burn in hell. That was pretty good, by the way. Rapping for Jesus.
As like a sample on the show, like Jesus is my nigga.
He is. I love Jesus Christ. Most people don't like him, but I do. I think he's swell. I keep Jesus in my back pocket. I'm not sure about you, but I do.
Do you?
The beautiful evangelicals. There we go. I know you don't. You hate Jesus Christ.
I don't hate him.
You hate him.
In fact, I have several books.
You hate Jesus Christ, Mike. How dare you lie?
Hate Jesus Christ.
What's wrong with Jesus, Mike? He has great sandals, great hair, great skin.
Aside from all his cool fashion.
Right.
I have been reading books about Jesus Christ for a very long time, at least more than a decade. I have the first book I read about Jesus and his actual existing was the book Holy Blood, Holy Grail.
Good book, by the way, yeah.
Great book, right?
Yes.
Ever since, I have been reading books that are on the same subject, whether whether or not, if Jesus was indeed crucified on the cross, if someone else was crucified and Jesus was given an opportunity to get out of Israel and went to Gaul, possibly had a child with Mary Magdalene while he was alive, or if he was crucified, Mary Magdalene went to Gaul and had a child without him. Now, all these books I have been trying to read for years to get as much information and try to really convince myself whether or not Jesus existed.
Well, I think
I'm fascinated.
A Jesus something probably did exist. But did he do these things that they say? That's debatable. Is Jesus a Muslim zombie? I don't know. They claim he is, but I don't know.
Well, Muslim didn't even begin until 300 years later, 400 years later, in the 7th century, I believe.
Right. Well, he was Muslim. He just, didn't know it at first.
Oh, is that so?
Right. He just didn't know it.
He was the original Jews for Jesus. He Jewish man who starts Christianity. I mean,
the original hippie, in my opinion. He's a hippie.
No doubt.
If he was here, he'd be, all about loving the environment. He really would be. And you would have people saying that Jesus Christ is a Satanist, a commie. That's what they'd be saying. He's a satanic commie, they'd be saying. I'm serious. That's what they'd be saying if Jesus Christ was around today.
But let it be known, Michael, I have nothing against Jesus.
I don't either.
I have been studying about him for years. I'm fascinated by the topic or the subject of Christianity and whether or not Jesus lived and actually sired a child and carried on the bloodline of Jesus.
I think there could have been plenty of people named Jesus. It could have been more than one. But all these acts they say, all these miracles they say, I don't really know. I have a hard time believing it,
Of course.
Again, Mike, all the religions in the world, none of them have demonstrated anything at all.
I was reading something not too long ago about magic, and I'm talking about actual magic, making bunnies come out of hats. And the thing is, I think back then there were magical feats, if you will, feats, in which certain people would be able to do that really confused the simple mind of mankind and womankind back then, 2,000, 3,000 years ago. So let's just say, for example, King David, who built, Solomon.
Solomon, there you go, right.
Solomon's temple. And the legend is he had demons build the temple and eventually put all these 72 demons into a vase and threw it into some sort of a lake or
Allegedly, yes.
Allegedly. Now, there are people who say Solomon was the greatest magician of all time.
Right.
And I sincerely believe that there were people who were able to master certain magical feats. And as a result, when you cannot explain how a person levitates, how a person makes something disappear or appear, you become infatuated. How many times have you watched Chris Angel and you ask yourself, holy cow,
the mind
how
freak.
Does he do that?
Right.
What? Right? I mean, I've seen, like, there's a couple of Japanese magicians who are absolutely mind-blowing.
There's some crazy ones, right?
They stick their hands through fish tanks. I mean, they're putting their hand through the glass of a fish tank. You got to ask yourself, how is that done? There are, of course, crazy Christians out there who classify these magicians as being demonic.
Yeah.
Magicians.
Well, that just goes to prove how easy it is to deceive humans.
Indeed.
To make them believe that you're a god when you're not. You're just playing tricks on people. That's all it is.
That's right. So
the hand is quicker than the eye. Yes.
That's right. And I sincerely believe that back in 2,000, 3,000 years ago, when someone did something like that,
they were just playing tricks.
And you could not, the simple mind could not explain.
They couldn't comprehend what was happening. Correct.
That's right.
They were deceived into believing that you were some god, when in reality you're just kind of like a con man. You're kind of like, a carny. In other words, you're essentially a carny.
Like what you just said makes perfect sense. Like a con man is kind of like what a magician could potentially be.
That's right. I agree. Misdirection. They're all about that as well.
That's right.
So I agree with you, Mike. You have a good way of putting that out there for the universe, and I agree with that. And Mike, first up, we have a gentleman here by the name of David Heavener. David Heavener. I'm not quite sure if that's his actual last name or if I'm even pronouncing that last name correctly, but that first name sure is tainted like a mother, that's for sure. And here we go, Mike. This clip, he's talking about pastors, how they are spitting and sweating all over the place. I'm pretty sure that's one of the reasons why they shut down churches during COVID, during the lockdown. All that spitting.
Okay.
All that spitting they were doing. But yes, this is from our friend, Mr. David Heavener. Again, I'm not quite sure if I'm saying his last name correctly. I'm not even quite sure if that's his real last name, but let's hear this gentleman here.
A real preacher, what does he smell like, David? Well, let me tell you something. When a real preacher gets up and starts preaching the gospel, and I'm talking the sweat starts flinging, and sometimes the saliva starts shooting out, and their eyes start bulging because the Holy Spirit gets a hold of them, they work up what we call body odor. And here's my thing. Any pastor that does not have body odor that I can't smell, chances are that pastor is not preaching a real sermon.
Did you hear that, Mike?
I certainly did.
What a freak. If you're not sweating, you're not doing it right.
If you ain't black, or no wait, if you don't vote Biden, you ain't black.
You ain't black.
If you ain't sweating, you ain't preaching.
You ain't preaching. That's right. And Max Cole says, "Yeah, your name is your destiny." I agree.
Right on.
I agree with that, no doubt. I've been saying that for a long time myself. Very hilarious. I agree, Mr. Max Cole. That's David Heavener, by the way. Look him up. I'm sure you will. My goodness, Mike. My goodness. And of course, Mike, I could not leave this person unmentioned here on the show. Of course, we have more Paula White for you, Mike, your favorite.
Paula White. Oh, gosh.
Here we go, Mike. Here we go indeed.
Let me take some Xanax.
Yeah, take some Xanax. Here we go. This clip is almost 2 minutes long. Brace yourself, Mike. Brace yourself.
Let me put a pencil in my ear.
There you go. Lilith, by the way, in the chat says, B.O. for Jesus.
B.O. for Jesus.
Can you imagine, by the way, how Jesus, his body smelled if they did find him? You know, as legend has it, they found the body of Christ. Can you imagine how stinky that guy must have been? No shower. He's just stinking up the place.
I think they all pretty much stank.
They're all stanky bastards.
They all had stankiness.
Ugh. They're just funky smelling, right? Walking around for 30 years in the desert. Just funky nasty. Here we go.
You'll never know till we get to heaven the vast difference that you make. And I believe that you're a world changer. I believe that God has a great plan for you.
God has a plan for you.
I believe that God's not through with our nation. I believe that there is a great place that God's going to move in this.
Jesus has a place for you, Mike.
Well, if it's anything, what I'm thinking, it's probably full of fire and brimstone.
It's a life of sin. Here we go.
This world and in this land. I believe that we're reclaiming our freedoms in Christ. I believe Habakkuk 2:14, that the glory of the knowledge of the Lord will cover this world as the waters cover the sea. I believe that you are sent on assignment for such a time as this. I believe that God chose you and put you in the earth for right now. I believe that you carry treasure, a great deposit of wealth inside your earthen vessel. I believe that God doesn't look at your past as if he didn't know it. Just like Teresa, he knew you would be arrested 7 times, okay, and not even know the last time. But that at 9:30 a.m. on whatever the day was, that God would change your heart. God knew, and God would raise you up, and the world looks at that like it's crazy. The world says there's no way, but our God is a God of restoration. That God will pull you out of a pit. God will pull you out of a drug addiction, out of alcoholism. God will pull you out of a trailer and set you in the White House. Come on, God will pull you out. You go, oh, you say that White House again. No, that was about being positioned for the kingdom of God.
From the trailer to the White House. It's a great book title. By Paula White. Almost done.
God will use you, that you can speak. God will take every situation in your life, and what the enemy meant for bad, he'll turn it around for good. You have a job to do for Jesus. You have a call. Now we're in the tabernacle, and the reason we're here is because I'm really wanting to show you.
My rhymes are fly, my beats are sick. My crew is big and it keeps getting bigger. That's 'cause Jesus Christ is my nigga.
Ooh, yeah. Oh my goodness. This show's gonna get canceled.
He's a life changer, miracle arranger. Born to the virgin mom in a manger. Water to wine, he's a drink exchanger. And he died for your sins. I preach the word, that's my gig. And I rhyme better than Notorious Big. All the other MCs, I wish them well. But if you live in sin, you burn in hell.
Very nice, very nice.
Like,
Rapping for Jesus.
Can you like just hear the stiff whiteness in his voice?
Oh, I hear the whiteness in his voice, no doubt.
Like just a ruler straight up his ass. He's so straight and stiff.
I do give him credit though. He tried his best. He tried his best.
Yeah,
He
I'll
did
give
good.
him credit. Probably
he did
a nice
great.
guy.
He did good. I am not discouraging him. I want him to rap every day.
I just want to hear him say, Jesus is my nigga again.
Well, he will be on the show tomorrow.
Okay, good.
No, I'm kidding. He won't be on the show tomorrow. I do have another program to do tomorrow. For those that are curious, we do have Wayne McRoy and Billy Ray Valentine that will be here tomorrow. We'll be talking about transhumanism and autism and all sorts of wild things for you tomorrow. That's going to be a great time. And Mike, you will be on a sabbatical. I'll be very sad you won't be here. This is not good. I mean, I'm getting sad. I thought we had, a good time here tonight. We did this show together. I said all these things and people were very angry with me in real time. I got emails telling me that I'm terrible, that I'm a piece of shit, that I'm dumb for not taking the vaccine. I mean, I heard it all in a matter of this program here. So, I hear it all the time. I'm just sad that you won't be here tomorrow, Mike. Well, what's going on? What happened?
I got to do things when the warmer weather comes around. I got to do things to make money. So I work the streets.
You got to work hard. You got to work. Yeah, you got to work the streets. Got to sell that crack. Your biggest client is not, he's not buying crack cocaine no more. Mike Lindell.
I'm out hooking, man.
Mike Lindell is not buying the coke you were giving him.
Yeah.
Yep, so it's a hard life. It's a hard life.
I gotta work the streets and shake my booty.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. By the way, I just wanted to play that random sound drop there.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing.
That's from a listener, by the way.
Michael Decon. Program. Is the embassy.
We like that here.
Yeah.
Is the embassy.
Kind of reminds me of the movie Saw. Has that really weird horror-like quality to it. I don't know why.
It does.
It's like someone's gonna cut your head off.
As a matter of fact, I believe it was either last week or the week before when you did the show with me, and you played it, and I made a comment. I was like, it sounded like an 80s horror movie.
It does sound like a horror film, yes. And for this guy, it is a horror film.
Michael Decon knows how to hurt me. He pretends to be my friend behind the scene, but he's doxed me. He talks shit about me constantly. He tells me the things that the voices in my head used to tell me.
That's true, I do.
What the hell is that?
I agree. Guilty.
Who is that?
Oh, just another mouth-breathing piece of shit, Mike, that's all.
So that was a real conversation? Like somebody really tearing you apart?
Oh, of course. There's people that do that all the time.
Wow.
It's
so the
fun.
voices, you're telling this person what the voices in his head used to tell him?
Yeah, evidently I do. I know all the words, and hopefully my words will drive this person off a cliff. I hope it does.
Anybody can get into the act these days.
Right.
Wow.
I agree. Mike, once again, I do want to thank you for being a part of the program. That was fun. My goodness, Mike, it was a great time. I might need to smoke a cigarette after that, even though I don't smoke cigarettes.
Nice.
Right. It was like sex and cocaine. The best way I could describe it. Mike, go ahead and plug anything you'd like before we shut it down like a Chinese hospital. Go ahead.
Okay, so first I want to say thank you to Michael for having me on tonight, the co-host. Had a blast as always. Thank you for everyone who listened tonight, both live and future podcast. If you're interested in my musical efforts and my horrible artwork, t-shirt designs for Empire Hideous, etc., you can go to MikeHideous.com. That's Mike, M-Y-K-E, hideous.com. If you'd like to see my artwork and photography, which, by the way, is for sale as prints or originals, you can check out my work at spymanphotoandart.com. And last but not least, if you'd like to get to me on social media, facebook.com/hideousmike, M-Y-K-E. Had a great time tonight, Michael. Thank you so much as usual.
You got it.
And I will see you on the flip side, my brother.
You got it. I'll talk to you very soon. Please be safe and don't do anything I wouldn't do, Mike.
Oh, well, I live for that.
That's right. Thank you, brother. Talk to you soon.
All right, Michael. Have a good night. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Take care. And there he goes, boys and girls. That was the one and only Mike Hideous. We do appreciate his time and efforts here on the program very much. And of course, I do appreciate all of your efforts out there. I know we started a little early here on the program. I know Friday, it's 6:17 out here on the West Coast. I'm sure you're wondering why on earth did you start so soon? Well, shit happens, folks, and sometimes you have to do the show a little bit earlier than usual. And tomorrow, I return with Billy Ray Valentine and Mr. Wayne McRoy, I believe. And before I drift off here tonight, boys and girls, I do want to thank all of you out there for being a part of the program. You too are a part of the program. Those of you in the chat room, and yes, Lilith is right. For more bonus content, please go to patreon.com/Michael Decon. The link is right there. You can't miss it. Can't miss it. And go ahead and please direct yourself to michaeldecon.com. That's where you'll find all the updates, all the news and information you want. Everything regarding the program. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Once again, much respect to all of you out there for listening to this. It was a good time. And yes, tomorrow, please return. We have more fun for all of you out there. Once again, boys and girls, stay safe no matter where you are on this island Earth. I'm Michael Decon. And with that said, the world is a mysterious place, and life itself is a mystery. Until next time, mahalo.
didn't want to party anymore. I didn't want to play games anymore. I grew up. I'd already been in the fights, all the big rituals. I'd already had probably, I hate to brag, I'm not bragging, it's actually shameful, probably 150 women or more. That's conservative. I'd had over 150 women. I'd already been in fights with full-grown men. I was already dating college girls by the time I was 15 years old. I was